Welcome to game number 2, guys, between Taeja and TLO. This is a Showmatch BO5. Again, game number 2. TLO did win the last game on Daybreak. But I think on ESV Cloud Kingdom, TLO could have a little bit of trouble because his main style of multiple attacks just doesn't happen on this map. Even Stefano has said it's almost impossible to attack a Terran player without like Broodlords on this map. It is so easy for them to turtle up and do slow pushes. And why is that? Well, you can take this third base, and after you take this, there should only be 2 ways into it, over here and here, which means your Marines or tanks can just sit right here and defend this. Additionally, tanks on the high ground can help defend this base. And what about here? There is a ramp up here, but a lot of players will just wall this off, so they only have to worry about this entrance. What does that mean? When all those times TLO did multi-pronged attacks, he's got to find a new way to do them. Maybe Nidus Worms, Overlord drops, those would be helpful doing his type of style on this map. It just isn't really that successful. On this map, you have to depend on your late game. And TLO, he has a good late game, but I would say that his mid game is definitely stronger. Again, he focuses on those multi-pronged attacks, his creep spread, which helps you late game. That creep spread helps you late game, but all those multi-pronged attacks that he loves doing just don't really work on this map all too well. Taeja, we'll see exactly what he ends up doing. He is at 13 supply, not building a barrack, so it looks like a CC first out of him. And of course, TLO going to be going for that 15 hatch like he always does. And this time, the Overlord is going to be going out. He is not going to worry about a bunker rush. And I like this much, much better because TLO, he's going to drone scout. He is going to drone scout. Come on, TLO, you're at 16 supply, drone scout. And you may be asking, why is drone scouting so important when you don't keep an Overlord right here? It's because if you drone scout, then you can see if your opponent sends an SCV out. If he sends an SCV out, then he has the ability to build a bunker. But if you drone scout, don't see any SCVs, you don't have to worry about a bunker majority of the time, unless that SCV takes an odd path. Generally, SCVs don't really take odd paths, they just go completely across the map to build a bunker, which your drone would see. And if you see the SCV moving out, and don't see him go up into your main, then you know I better send stuff down to my natural because there is something going on there. TLO this time not going to be drone scouting. Maybe it's because this Overlord that goes directly across is on that path of the SCV. I think the SCV, I don't know. I think the SCV goes up. I don't know which one it goes up by default. But maybe the Overlord sees that SCV and that's why TLO isn't doing it. This is a little bit risky. Actually, maybe not. TLO, we did see Destiny a while back on MLG place his Overlord right here. This is the first spot it went. The Muslim found a thing out. You build your barracks right here. Build a Marine, lift it up, the Overlord's dead. TLO putting it at this corner right away, so if that happens, the Overlord has an escape pattern this way. So that is some small Overlord scout or flight pattern that does change. This one Overlord going to be going down here, sit in this one area. It can check out the drops, and also it can see both these gases without really any risk of death. And if Taeja goes for that double gas again to go for that Banshee play, that just isn't going to work. But we have Taeja going to be double expanding early game. And as I did say, it's so hard to attack a Terran player because you can turtle up so easily on this map. And Taeja going to be doing a very fast third base. Take this and feel very comfortable. But TLO is going to be doing the same thing. Extremely fast third hatch out of TLO. Doesn't even have a single Ling out. And that third queen is waiting to go on over there. And this queen looks like she is timed almost perfectly with that inject, not really missing anything there. Nice job, TLO. And now he's going to get a tumor out, start working his way to this third base. Taeja is going to be seeing it. He knows exactly what is up, but he can't put any pressure on because, again, he took his third command center as well. He won't immediately land it. He'll use it to get an orbital command, land more mules out, build more SCVs, and then take that once this area is secure. Overlord wants to get right in this path now as he knows there are no barracks right here. There's no immediate threat of it dying. He wants to sit right down here because this is the key spot for an Overlord because Marines are going to be leaving out of this area. So that's why the Overlord does kind of move in that risky spot. So TLO now knows, okay, you have 5 Marines moving on out. And if TLO is really good, he'll know that there's only 1 barracks that has been completed in that time, which means what else is going on in your base? And that may be enough to tell an experienced player that another command center did go down because it tells you the timing of the second racks. If you don't see Hellions, you generally know there's no factory made. So if TLO, if he's like perfect scouting, can count like how many Marines there are and know the time of the game, he may already know there is a third base in Taeja's base. I don't know if he knows that, but that is just something to think about. We do have those Lings, no speed, but they are going to try to get that surround on those Marines. And yes, they do end up killing them. They kind of backed off at the last second. Then we're like, oh wait, one's alive, so let's finish that job here. And we'll see when TLO ends up taking his lair, because he's probably the next 100 gas. He will. Has just 2 and 3 gases right now. And Taeja, he didn't see this gas. I was going to say, if he saw this gas, then he may assume that TLO is on a lot of gas. He may assume this is the 5th gas, which would be very odd, and would prompt a scan over at the main. So TLO building 1 gas at each base. So if Taeja saw either of these gases, he'd think there was the one up in the main. If he sees this gas and not this one, then he may think, well, you got 4 gases already, that's your 5th, something odd is coming up. And if I saw that, I would be thinking Muta's on the way. TLO is going to be moving on out. Those Lings do have speed, and they're going to be running in, try to do damage. There are plenty of Marines here, and that Overlord extending a little bit too far. The Lings just going to try to take out these rocks, making it harder for Taeja to hold this position. If these rocks are down, it takes a lot more buildings to get this full wall off. Meanwhile, we do have TLO going up on plenty of gas. The lair has started. Baneling's Nest is done. He is getting 1-1 right now. Taeja is getting 1-1 as well. It looks like relatively the same time. 76 seconds ago, 63 seconds, so 10 seconds slower for Taeja. That is really good, staying even with the Zerg on upgrades. Of course, if you're faster, it's better. TLO having this 1 gas, not mining from it just yet. Going to be taking his 4th base. And maybe he has a suspicion about the 3rd command center in the main, and that's why there weren't so much stuff there. Or maybe it's just because this is pure Marine, and if TLO just masses Banelings, he theoretically should do well. But these are Taeja Marines. Banelings don't affect them. They have an immunity to Banelings. That unit countering thing that Blizzard put out is a lie. Banelings don't counter Taeja Marines, and also the tooltip is a lie. Marines don't carry C-14 Gauss rifles. They carry something much scarier, like a C-20. I think that's what Ghost use. Trust me, Taeja's Marines are definitely stronger than your ordinary Marine. TLO is going to be... doesn't see the base just yet. Getting Lings and Banelings in to do... well, I guess he just knows it's up. Doesn't see it. Sees this area now getting walled off, and maybe that is the thing that keys TLO in. Knows, okay, that's walled up. Why wouldn't you take your 3rd base? So TLO, without even seeing that, puts the Banelings off to the side, and he wants to do a run-by, but he wants to wait for Taeja to move out, because it is around that 11-minute mark, which Terrans always love to hit it. If he waits any longer, then Mutas or Infestors would be out. Actually, Mutas could be out already. But TLO favored getting the more bases up.
Add-on complete.
And here we go, 2 Banelings coming in. That speed just about to hit. Little bit of mistake. About 5 seconds too early, and that allows the SCVs enough time to go away and not get hit by those Banelings. But those Lings still doing a little bit of damage. Few Marines are going to come out, but since no Marines are immediately killing these Lings, TLO, well, he had the Watchtower, I believe, so he knew Marines were coming anyways, and that's why he decided that was the time to move in with those Banelings and Lings, not paying attention that his upgrade was literally 3 seconds away from completing. Lings are still going to be doing a run by. TLO just wants to get run-bys working on this map so hard. Realizes the time to do it is when Taeja moves out, but Taeja is going to have a lot of Marauders. If you can get a line of Marauders, they will do good against those Banelings. Don't have concussive shells. That is being researched. Did just start. Has a relatively short research time, but that means Banelings do not get slowed down. 1 Overlord does go down over here. More Overlords could be going down, but that Overlord speed is done, and Taeja's got to micro these Marines back. Beautiful, almost beautiful job. Lost quite a bit there. Now doing a good spread of Marines. That time, that was optimal. If that whole battle was like that, Taeja would have a lot more left over, but he is still ahead in supply, 150 to 120. TLO getting Infestors. That Spire and Hive done, so he is morphing the Greater Spire. Going to be going relatively fast greatest bio. That does start at the 13-minute mark, which is like destiny fast. Taeja going to be trying to take his 4th base. Lings again doing a run by, proving me wrong that this style can work. Just wait until your opponent moves on out. But we do have a small group of units. Lings are on hold position, trying to take out as many units as they can, as Taeja has a large force moving on out. Not too much back 4 defense by TLO. I think bailing landmines would be very good in this case. But TLO, does he even have burrow? No, he does not. That is researching just about done. Marauders trying to get in the way of those Bailings. That split going down yet again. Really nice split, and now Overlords are going to be falling. And that 4th base is going to be going down. Going to this SCV kill count, TLO has killed 22 SCVs. Now the drones have been pulled off. Bio is at 2-2. Lings are at 2-2 as well. 3-3 on the way. Corruptors on the way as the greatest fire is done. Those Broodlords may make an appearance if they do come out. Taeja could be in a little bit of trouble. It would be 2-0 if TLO wins this game. A lot of mules over at this 4th base now. Taeja not a fan of the tanks, going with pure MMM. Haven't seen this in a long time with just those Marauders. And if you have good micro, this can work very well to deal with Ling Bling. As you do see, lots of Banelings just exploded all over those Marauders. And more Marines come. Look at Taeja Micro. Look at the Taeja Micro. That is what makes him so good. The constant stream of units, and as I say that, units kind of stop coming out, but they are still being built 13 Marines at a time. And you can see that counter never really dropping below 10. Medevacs just staying in position, healing the bio, and that's something to keep a note. The Medevacs aren't moving. Whenever the Medevacs move, the little healing thing, they're not Phoenixes. They can't heal and move at the same time. So by the Medevacs not moving, it does maximize the heal as long as Marines do stay within range. A Broodlord is out. There's still plenty of bio here. Taeja still 166 supply, 2 TLOs, 132. These Marines have been doing so good, but that fungal growth doing a lot of damage to those Marines. Those Broodlords going to be cleaning them up, but there is only 1, now 2 coming out. But those Marines right underneath them, that Infestor, going a little bit close, but not really taking any hits. This 4th base, again, in danger. There we go. It is taken out. TLO, 130 supply. Taeja, 167. Almost finished his 3-3, but TLO almost finished 3-3 for those Lings as well. TLO, though, did not get that double Spire, which you see occasionally, so he can't get double air upgrades, so that will always be lagging a little bit behind. Vikings now coming out to deal with the Broodlords, and now the Infestors, he doesn't have that many, so he's really got to make the call. Do I fungal growth Vikings, or do I fungal growth Bio? And if you make a mistake fungal growthing Bio, there's enough Medevacs out to make your fungal growth obsolete. You cannot make a mistake fungal growthing them, but if you don't fungal growth them, then you don't have the ground army to deal with the Bio. So this is a very odd situation for TLO to be in, despite also being way behind in the supply. Gonna get that fungal growth on the Bio, but you can see not really doing all that much. So many Medevacs are here just healing it up, and TLO is in a lot of danger right now. You could say he's in the danger zone, and I don't even think Archer can save him from this one. Bioforce is getting fungled yet again, but you can see these Medevacs being worth their weight in gold, keeping that Bio alive, and at the same time, Taeja's like, I can do multiple attacks. Boom. Done. Now he's going to be coming in here, and TLO is forced to throw out the GG, and this is the game that I want to look at Taeja macro. So let's go over into this. And units. So we're at a 15 granularity. Just to give you an idea, default is at 30. So most people, when they look at it, will be at 30. And you can see Taeja always relatively high. You can see it's high right here, low right here. This means there's probably, I don't know, maybe some barracks without reactors producing. But let's just go, like, do spot checks in the game and see how often all his barracks are being utilized, because I think it's majority of the time. A lot of players, when we go to this 15 granularity, they don't really have gaps anymore. They used to, but they have a lot more of these 2s. Taeja, a lot of the times, you can see these spikes, they're in uniform. That just means there's a pattern, and patterns are good, especially when they're high spikes. That means 12 Marines finished, the next production, actually 15 Marines finished, the next production cycle, you had another big group finish. And before we do that, let's go TLO's injecting. I know I don't do as much analysis on these BO5s, but if I did, my analysis can go like 10 to 15 minutes long. So you can imagine how much that adds up in a BO5. 10 seconds. So again, not the best. I think it averages to 1 missed inject, and that can be kind of because TLO had a few seconds when that inject finished on his main, and the queen wasn't done yet. I think that's right here. But that doesn't explain both of these small gaps. And I know I didn't talk about it in this game. Try to talk about it next game, about why I don't like TLO's injects. So let's just go back into this briefly. At the end of the game, a lot of things are producing. 14 minutes. Wow, he's got a lot idle right now, but doesn't really have that much money. Floating 200, 300 is not bad. He is, right now, dealing with that run by. But as he's dealing with that, you can see, well, all these ones did just finish. But only 2 idle barracks when he was dealing with all that. You can go up, try to just wait for a point when none of the barracks are highlighted. Oh my god, that's actually... So I must have picked like the absolute worst time, because I swear, against every other Taeja game I've done this with, he's always had these much more utilized. Taeja not doing his best macro this game. Right now he is dealing with Marine Marauder micro against Ling Bling, which is very consuming. Without the tanks, you run that risk more than more times than with tanks. Of 1 second you're not looking at your army, then it's demolished. Always got to be looking at, because you don't have the tanks that can sometimes have the smart AI which target fires Banelings. If you just have Marine Marauder, Ling Bling is going to win every time without micro. With micro, Marauder Marine can do so well. So maybe that's why. But not the best micro of Taeja. We can see it's not really sitting that long. So... anyways, we will be hopping into the next game. I hope you enjoyed that, and definitely stay tuned.